Guys, listen to this. I read that on Saturday, President Biden will deliver the graduation commencement speech at West Point. Yeah, and good news, he should be finished by the 4th of July. Right now, West Point cadets are like, this is what we trained for. This is what...
Yes, the outstanding award-winning comedy of The American Liberal in 2024. It's a sad, sad situation. Yes. Well, happy Friday to you and welcome. It is the Friday of Memorial Day weekend. In Washington, D.C., we have a Memorial Day parade at 2 o'clock in the afternoon down along the mall. And that is good. Very good indeed. And there's a concert in front of the Capitol. I think that's on Sunday. Is that on Sunday? Today is the commissioning ceremony at the United States Naval Academy. Since the Democrats are mocking West Point because, honestly, please, these people. Can I say these people? How about those people? Can I say those people? Because that's who I'm referring to. Once again, I only have 3 hours, and I'm sad to report that once again, that's not going to be enough time because the Democrats are so crazy. How crazy are they? They're pretty darn crazy. They're very, very crazy. And they provided me with so much stuff. In Illinois, did this story on my fun Newsmax show last night at 10 p.m. Eastern. In the state of Illinois, and it's kind of funny because one of my brothers in Chicago texted me the story this morning on our text thread, a family brothers text thread, and sent me the story. He said, have you seen this? I was like, well, yeah, actually, I did. Yeah, I did on my television show last night. But it's an amazing story. They've passed a bill that will not allow the state officials to refer to convicted criminals as criminals. They don't want to use any disparaging terms to describe their family, their relatives, their brothers, their sisters, their boyfriends, their other boyfriends, their wives' boyfriends, the Democrat Party. So they won't be called criminals. You'll never guess what they are going to call them from now on. It's almost as if they're doing satire. And they kind of are. It's just that they don't know it. So that's a fun one. I've got that one for you today. Also, crazy Democrat member of Congress, and there are a lot of crazy Democrat members of Congress. We had this little dust up in the House of Representatives with Marjorie Taylor Greene and AOC and Congresswoman, believe it or not, Jasmine Crockett, a Democrat from Texas. And you may recall the back and forth where Jasmine Crockett referred to Marjorie Taylor Greene with a slur of sorts. Well, and it was, just trying to be mean-spirited, and because she's a nasty-ass bee, and this little back and forth was amusing. And then she said, the Democrat Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett said that she liked her turn of phrase so much, her insult of Marjorie Taylor Greene. She said that she was thinking about maybe trademarking that turn of phrase. And it turns out, a great story in the Washington Examiner, which is a newspaper, a real newspaper in Washington, D.C., unlike the Washington Post, which lost $70 million last year. And the billionaire owner doesn't care. The multi-billionaire owner, he doesn't care because it's more important to do Democrat propaganda, left-wing propaganda. And that's how they like it. Now, it's kind of a funny. The story opens in the Washington Examiner. If Democrats didn't have double standards, that's the opening of the story, it can be legitimately argued they would have no standards at all. That's the first line in the Washington Examiner story, which is an excellent thought. I'm going to write that down. This seems especially true after a Democrat congresswoman failed an application to trademark a supposedly discriminatory slur against lesbians. Lesbians, everybody loves lesbians. Who doesn't love lesbians? Just go, come on, look at the, never mind. We'll get back to that later. At any other time in recent history, what Representative Jasmine Crockett, a Texas Democrat, said during a heated exchange with Marjorie Taylor Greene would have caused outrage. Well, only if a Republican had said it, especially within the LGBTQIAA community. Calling a female butch and having the audacity to file a trademark application using the term would have resulted in protests and demands to resign by the fanatical left-wing political activists plaguing this nation. Yet when it's one of their own, and one of their own makes a homophobic slur that took action to, profit off of it because she's looking to make money off of her little slur, the collective community of radical left-wing activists was silent. They said nothing. They did nothing. Apparently, so-called homophobia, that's an irrational fear of isn't as traumatic as the left has claimed it has been for decades. But I'll get back to that because I want to share with you the phrase, and we have the audio soundbite and all that stuff, but it's fun, and it's kind of nice that the story begins with a familiar phrase. It's a good phrase. People should use that phrase. Maybe I should trademark that phrase. It could be too late now. That horse is out of the barn, I think. We are, by the way, at 888-630-9625. All kinds of great stuff. Ted Cruz, he's a United States Senator. And yesterday there was a hearing in the Senate to confirm another radical extremist Biden judicial nominee. You see, Obama was out there yesterday applauding the radical fascists that Joe Biden and really Barack Obama has chosen to fill the courts. And they continue to attack the Supreme Court and Justice Samuel Alito's wife, Justice Clarence Thomas, because they're racists and they're a lynch mob. But there was another nominee before the Senate for confirmation yesterday. Ted Cruz asked her a couple of questions. It's a woman, she checks that box. Is she a WOC? No, she's a WW. I think she's a white woman. Do they abbreviate white woman or just woman of color? They do WOC. They should do WW since they abbreviate everything for white women. But this white woman, she had a psychopathic man who is a child rapist and a serial rapist. And this Democrat judge said that the man who is a serial rapist now says he's a woman. And so the judge calls the man her and she and sentenced the man to a woman's prison, sent him with male genitalia, chronic rapist, to a woman's prison. Speaking of which, we've got a story out of Gaza, which the Democrat Party supports full-throatedly. Is it appropriate to say full-throatedly in this context? The Democrat Party supports Hamas, which is a genocidal, radical Islamist terrorist organization, and the Democrat Party is completely in bed with them. They want to be their hostages. They want to live in their tunnel network. Most Democrats want to move there and dress like women and move down to the tunnel. But we've got an amazing story, and we have the audio for you. It's in Arabic, but I can help translate it. And these two men, it's a father-son team, and they're Palestinian men in the Gaza, and they're bragging, the son is bragging on camera about how they kidnapped this Israeli woman, a Jewish, during their attack on October 7th, and bragging about how dad raped her, then son raped her, then dad raped her, then son raped her, and then dad murdered her, and he's bragging about it like it's, Christmas time for everyone. And that is because they're savages who need to be eradicated from the face of the planet Earth as the disease that they are. That's why we make satellite-guided bombs and laser-guided bombs. It's to kill savages like this. I won't call them animals. It would be hurtful to animals. Remarkable stuff. And of course, yesterday, President Trump was in the Bronx having his big rally. And it was really something. It was really a lot of fun. And the news media is a little freaked out about it. They're having a gender panic at a couple of different news organizations over Trump's rally in the Bronx. And the people of the Bronx showed up in droves and were very happy to be there. And when asked by some news organizations and not others what they were doing there, they gave remarkable answers, a great many people. And there were POC, right, people of color, as Democrats say, WOC, women of color. I think there might have been LGBTQ, WOC, and POC. The Democrat Party is mentally ill, and that's MI. It's not just for military intelligence anymore. Now it's for mentally ill. The Democrats are completely out of their minds, but Trump yesterday vows to save Deep Blue New York City and massive historic Bronx rally. That's a good headline from the Fox News channel. And from the radical left-wingers at Mediaite, where I believe there were a bunch of layoffs yesterday because they are a donkey show. CNN reporter shocked at size of Trump rally in the Bronx. This is one of the bluest counties in the entire country, she said. Yeah, and it's also ethnically rich and culturally diverse, which the Democrats like to point to at every possible occasion. Remarkable stuff. Speaking of the savages of Hamas, the animals supported by the Democrat Party that must be exterminated in the name of humankind. They must be crushed and killed. Israeli military recovers the bodies of 3 more hostages killed on October 7th from Gaza. They recovered the bodies from Gaza. Not clear when they were actually murdered by the savages, but I've got that one for you, and that's quite remarkable. And Rashida Tlaib, who is a jihadi and a Democrat member of Congress, because the Democrat Party is not on the side of Western civilization, much less the United States of America, much less the rule of law or the Constitution, God forbid, the Bill of Rights. But never mind that. Rashida Tlaib's staffer tries to block Fox News reporter with umbrella. We have it on video, guys. And she, being the radical extremist, terrorist-loving fascist that she is, calls Benjamin Netanyahu, what'd she call him? She called him a war criminal. A war criminal. Because he's the war criminal, not the savages. The Democrat Party is not with us. They're not with us in this fight for civilization. They're on the other team. There are a lot of other teams they're playing on, and that's one of them. Just remarkable stuff. Also, because Democrats are out there and they've secured positions of responsibility so that they may abuse them, Washington state judge lowers bail for illegal immigrant accused of killing a state trooper from $1 million. Let's cut it by 90% to $100,000 so he can walk, because you need to put up 10% with $10,000. He's a cop killer, illegal alien. Do you think maybe he's a flight risk? Remember, they wanted to take away Donald Trump's passport because they said he was a flight risk. He's got his own 757. He's got buildings all over New York with his name on the top of them, and all over the world for that matter. We stayed in one in Panama City, my best girl and I, with Trump's name on the top of it. But never mind that. So the Democrat, he's clearly and obviously a Democrat. He self-describes as a liberal. I'm not sure if he self-describes as he or not, but he lowers bail. Why would you lower the bail at all for an illegal alien who was arrested for murdering a state trooper? Well, because he's a Democrat, and they love criminals and crime and chaos and anarchy and looting and burning police cars, because they're not liberals. They're the left. Quite remarkable stuff. And the question is at long last being asked, crisis at the front gate. GOP governor, Republican governor in Virginia, rips Biden after illegal immigrants tried to breach military base. And he points out, Glenn Youngkin in Virginia, hey, we're not a border state, and we've got illegal aliens breaching, and it's, I talked about it last week, Quantico, the Marine Corps base at Quantico, Virginia. Amazing stuff, really amazing. So just scratching the surface on a few things we've got to share with you today. And there are many more, because there are a lot of Democrats on the loose. They're off the chain, off the leash. Just crazy people out there. And NBC fake news with a fake headline. Are Russia and North Korea planning an October surprise that aids Trump? That aids Trump. Well, no, but NBC News is planning a daily fraud that aids Biden and also aids AIDS, because they, they're just. Also, you hear about the staffer. They got staffers out there, Democrats do, that make more money every year than the Secretary of Defense. Have you seen this one? Yeah, they pay somebody in the back of the office. What do you do? They don't even know. Make more money than the Secretary of Defense. Not a thing. Yes, sir. U.S. service member critically injured, airlifted to Israel while working on the Gaza aid pier. You know, the one that's being looted every day, very predictably. I predicted it. Joe Biden, his Secretary of Defense, didn't predict it. They're not a bright bunch. Yes, sir. So we've got that and a lot more, and things are going to happen during the next 3 hours. We'll share that stuff with you, too, as it falls through the ceiling. We are at 888-630-9625. All right, yeah, and I got this Fairfax County School Board story is one for the books. It should be on 60 Minutes. It won't be, but I'll share it with you in a couple of minutes. And we're going to have President Trump and the Middle East and all the mayhem the Democrats are causing. Right now, though, let's go to the telephones. Again, 888-630-9625. Let's go to Jeff calling from Hagerstown, Maryland. Jeff, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Thanks, Chris. Good morning and happy Memorial Day weekend to you. You had a caller maybe a show or two ago on the radio, made some really great, excellent references to some old shows. Well, I'd like to mention my TV lineup leading up to your Newsmax show. So I go on the IFC channel with Everybody Loves Raymond. Then I go with Two and a Half Men.
Fun.
Then I switch over to MeTV. I go with the Beverly Hillbillies and Green Acres, and that leads us up to 10 o'clock for your show. But I got to tell you, I would drop the Beverly Hillbillies and put in Get Smart. For the icing on the TV guide, which would be that would be for me anyway. But hey, I'd like to refer back to my Italian grandfather, who used to watch Meet the Press back in the 70s, and he would just watch and he would say, "Yeah, that Spiro Agnew, he's the one, a big, a dumb, a beep." So for Joe Biden, I got it. That's a Joe Zeppi Biden. Man, oh, manicotti, he's a one, a big, a stupid, oh, that guy is.
Well, your grandfather lives. It's nice that your Italian grandfather lives on every day and that you still quote him and use his jokes. That is great. Wonderful stuff. Hey, that's a pretty good lineup. You know, it's a wholesome, all-American, old-fashioned stuff. Bam, 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 bam. Monday is Memorial Day, formerly known as Decoration Day. Long ago, Decoration Day. It is a federal holiday in the United States of America. It is honoring and mourning U.S. military personnel killed while serving in the United States Armed Forces. And you may remember every time Memorial Day rolls around, Michael Piercy and I are reminded of Barack Obama when he was running for president. And in 2008, he was in New Mexico, and he was invited to, almost inexplicably, the Memorial Day event at a military cemetery there. And it was a gathering of veterans, and Barack Obama said this.
On this Memorial Day, as our nation honors its unbroken line of fallen heroes, and I see many of them in the audience here today.
He saw many of the fallen heroes in the audience there that day, which we know what that means.
I see dead people.
Yeah, Barack Obama, he's there he is. He grew up in Hawaii, went to the Punahou School. A lot of military history in Hawaii, but he was a member of the Choom Gang, you know, so he was super stoned most of the time, smoking that Hawaiian Kush bud, and he was a little too stoned to know what was going on. And then he was elected president by Democrats because, you know, he was terrible at being a senator. So Harry Reid recommended, hey, you're so awful at being a senator, maybe you should be president. You could be awful at that. And then the Democrats, you know, the party of the bullwhip and the plantation, could say, hey, we got the first black president. Yeah, 2008. He sees many of them there. They were there that day. They were not there that day. He is Harvard Law School. That's Harvard Law School, because they just taught him to be an anti-Semite after Frank Marshall Davis taught him to be a communist. But setting that aside. All right, let's take another phone call, Michael. Let's go to Dave, calling from Falls Church, Virginia. David, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Hey, Chris, good morning, and happy Memorial Day weekend to you. I know your great appreciation for the military. I wish you a great Memorial Day weekend. I'm actually giving the keynote speech at the Falls Church ceremony here. It's always very nice. You'd be welcome if you wanted to attend.
No kidding. You're doing that on Monday?
Monday, yes. They have a very nice ceremony. Like I say, it's at the People's Republic of Falls Church, but very, very patriotic for at least one day of the year. Very nice. Very
well,
nice.
that's good.
American Legion and VFW turn out very well, so it's always a real nice thing.
Very good to hear that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, and I wanted to dovetail that with, I ran across a video the other day by a women's group called the D-Day Darlings. I don't know if you've heard of them.
No.
But they were singing a very patriotic song from World War II called There'll Be Bluebirds Over the White Cliffs of Dover. Tomorrow will be another day. And it was about looking at the future from all of the suffering that all the Allies did in World War II, fighting the Nazis and the Japanese. And the reason I mention that, and I think your listeners would love it, because at the end of the song, from both sides of the stage come 90-year-old veterans, probably British and perhaps some Canadians and Americans, but walking out as best they could at that age with proudly showing their medals. And it was just so heart-rending for those of us that have been in the service, that have so familiar with a lot of the service, especially the Air Force. And it was just wonderful.
Well, I remember patriotism in America. The Democrats are doing everything they can to leave that behind because they're not on our side anymore. Democrats used to be on our side. The party's changed a lot, hasn't it?
That's right. And when we last talked a few weeks ago, I mentioned that the Democratic Party was hijacked a few decades ago, and it just continues to tilt further and further and further left into madness.
It really does. I mean, now they're in the Hamas camp and not the Israel camp. Yes. They're in the criminal camp and not the police camp. They condemn capitalism and successful people, unless, of course, they goose step like George Soros with the left in the United States of America. Yeah, the Democrat Party is unrecognizable.
Yeah, it is. It is. It really is. I also want to mention, I know your stepfather and I were crossed paths while I was at CBS, and he was an earlier generation, of course, and a great reporter. I rubbed shoulders with lots of the other fellows and ladies at CBS, and I know you have your own experience at CNN at the Pentagon, and I actually overlapped with you there. We never knew each other, but I was in one of the international affairs offices there. And lastly, before I let you go, I really appreciate your time. I love your great show. But you and I and my Hillsdale College daughter met at Bourbon Boulevard a couple of years ago, and I did send you my memoir copy a few weeks ago, Son of the Heartland. I don't know if you've had a chance to look through it, but it talks about the crazy stories that we reporters get into all around the world, mine and specifically in Asia. And put a couple of still photos in there with you. So I hope you got it. I've got some great reviews on it, and it talks about patriotism and spirituality.
Well, I've got to confess, I'm going to go searching for it. You know, we have no system here at the radio station for getting hold of it. You sent it to the radio station, yes?
Yeah, Jasmine gave me the address, and I sent it to the one she gave me.
All right. Well, now I'm going to have to go rummaging because nothing ever makes it to me. That's how it works here. That's how it works.
I mean, I'm biased, of course, but I've got nice reviews, and I think it's just a cute read, especially all the funny stuff that news crews used to get into, trying to get into places where nobody else would go.
Son of the Heartland. I'm going to find it. I'm going to find it, Dave.
Thank you.
I know it's here somewhere. And God bless you, and thank you for being a great American and a great American veteran, and for being on our side.
Well, yeah, we have to, as you know, you well know better than me. We just have to stay in the fight. We just have to continue to show that all these weirdos need to go somewhere else.
You know, Hillary Clinton famously, and we've played the audio many times, famously said, "There is only the fight." This is one of her catchphrases, and I've been saying for years, you should never marry a woman, Bill Clinton, whose slogan is, "There is only the fight." You know, that's not somebody you want to be spending your life with. And she meant it. And these crazy lefties, then they don't want to fight against the bad guys of the world. They want to fight against the good guys in the United States of America. They're not on Team America. They're not on our side. And when they believe there is only the fight, then at some point, and we've been much too docile and passive for decades now, but I believe that conservatives in America and around the world, as a matter of fact, are waking up to the fact that these authoritarian tribes like America's Democrat Party are taking freedoms and liberties away from people by the millions, and they're not done. They're coming for everything, just as they were in the 20th century, but the Democrat Party wasn't in they were partly in the Soviet camp during the 20th century, but now they are here, and they own the Democrat Party and the school systems and the universities and the media. These are difficult and very challenging times, but we have to appreciate the fact that they believe there is only the fight, and that, unfortunately, the fight is against us because we fly the American flag and we're on our side. And it's a difficult circumstance we're in, Dave, and I know you appreciate that. We must continue to the fight and save liberty and freedom for future generations. It's not just about the United States, but let's start with us. It's also about the rest of the world, because if we're not here to stand up for freedom and liberty, and if we had not been here to stand up for freedom and liberty in the 20th century, then the Soviet Union and Nazi Germany, Imperial Japan would own the planet, and Communist China would own parts of it. But we were able to save freedom and liberty for humankind in the 20th century, and it looks like we're going to have to fight the fight to do it all over again in the 21st century, doesn't it?
Yes, it certainly does. And as you know, everything now, the knee-jerk reaction by the so-called progressives, they hide behind that label because they want to be progressive. But every knee-jerk reaction is anti-American, and getting to be anti-civilization now. It's turning into anarchy and nihilism, and who knows where it's going to lead. But the Lord is in control, so that's all we have to do is continue to stay in the fight.
That was very well said. Absolutely, Michael is nodding over here like that's absolutely right. This is a civilizational battle. It was in the 20th century as well, with the Socialist Workers' Party of Adolf Hitler and the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics and the Chinese Maoist Revolution. It was a struggle for civilization and for human liberty then, and it hasn't ended because, as Hillary likes to say, there is only the fight against the barbarians that would take everything from everyone, which is not only their goal, it's their stated goal. They're not even in the closet on this stuff. Dave, great stuff. A lot to think about there, and I'm going to find your book, and I am saluting you.
I think, like I say, it's a cute read. I think you'll enjoy it, and God bless you, and happy Memorial Day to all the veterans and those who are patriots and who love liberty. That's
right, and as Barack Obama would say, and to those who made the ultimate sacrifice, I see many of them here today. What a maroon. Dave, thanks very much. Son of the Heartland. Listen, when we were talking about the school systems a moment ago that the left has corrupted and taken over. There's a crazy story. I actually heard the first part of it on the news on WMAL driving in today. And this is crazy, but WUSA, Channel 9, the CBS local station in Washington, has the story. The headline is, quote, "Let's be real. It's not what the ask was." It's not what the ask was. Fairfax County School Board approves budget. Budget includes 4% raise for Fairfax County Public Schools employees. And the story is Kind of interesting in that they wanted a 6% raise, but they got a 4% raise. And there is the Fairfax County Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Michelle Reed, wanted every Fairfax County public school employee to receive a 6% pay raise, but they didn't get all the money they wanted. They didn't get the $254 million they wanted. They got $165 million. But let's move along from there, because this is kind of remarkable. In the story, one of the school board members introduced several amendments before the vote on Thursday night. It's Mateo Dunn. Mateo Dunn says the funding should go to the teachers. The funding should go to the teachers. Mateo Dunn represents Fairfax County School Board in the Mount Vernon area, where you will find the historic home of George Washington. It's a beautiful area, and Mateo Dunn said, we need to be more able to retain our experienced teachers, right? And he said the money's not going to the teachers, it's going to operations and all the wrong people. He said, let's just be honest and not try to pretend we haven't differentiated before. We have, and in this case, we must, respectfully, we have a great superintendent, a school superintendent, right? We have a great superintendent, but she's paid more than the President of the United States. The school board president makes $400,000 last time I looked, and the school board president of Fairfax County makes more than the President of the United States. And listen to this, it gets better. And we have a great chief of staff. The school board has a great chief of staff, paid more than the Secretary of Defense, said Dunn. Mateo Dunn pointing out that the school board chief makes more than in Fairfax County, Virginia, makes more than the President of the United States, paid more than the President of the United States, and the chief of staff for the Fairfax County School Board makes more than the Secretary of Defense, who's a retired Army 4-star general at this moment in time. Isn't that great? We have great administrative assistants who are paid at the beginning of their career 110% above market. Our government spending is out of control on every level. That's a county school board that we're talking about there. That's pretty remarkable stuff. The chief of staff for the Fairfax County School Board makes more than cabinet secretaries. The Secretary of Defense doesn't make any more or less than Pete Buttigieg, for example. But that's probably wrong for a number of reasons. But the Fairfax County School Board superintendent is paid more than the President of the United States. Isn't that remarkable? And are they doing a great job of educating the kiddies? Fairfax County could be worse, could be Washington, D.C., but I'm guessing in Washington, D.C., we have a similar situation. We just have a news media that doesn't cover this sort of thing. We've got a great deal of news to share with you, from Rashida Tlaib to crazy Joe Biden judicial nominees. We've got Democrats. The headline is, Illinois criminals downgraded. How can criminals be downgraded? Well, wait till you hear this story out of Illinois. Pretty amazing stuff. Democrats in charge there, too. Lots and lots of Democrat, and President Trump in the Bronx yesterday. Ton of fun. And the Democrats are having another gender panic about it, as they so often do. 888-630-9625. All right, President Trump in the Bronx yesterday. Crotona Park, big gathering, tens of thousands. We got one of the ABC station in New York sent a hack up there to attack him and find some cretinous left-wing protesters in the park. Did their whole story on them because, they want more fascism, more crime, more people thrown in front of subway trains, that sort of stuff. New York, the city that never sweeps. It's not getting better. Let's take another phone call, Michael, and we're going to get a bunch of audio of President Trump in the Bronx yesterday and the news media alleged coverage of it, and Senator Ted Cruz with a Joe Biden judicial nominee. Great stuff. Transgender everything, everywhere. A lot of mental illness in the Democrat Party. Let's go to Bob calling from Westchester County in New York. Oh, Bob, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Hey, Chris, thanks for taking my call. Listen, just want to kind of inform you and your audience about AOC claiming she's from Yorktown. I live in Yorktown now. She's actually from Yorktown Heights. Mm-hmm. Now, every town has a very wealthy section. The Heights, as it's called, most of the people from the Heights were wealthy. She comes from an extremely wealthy neighborhood from Westchester County. Not just Yorktown, Yorktown Heights.
And her father worked for an architecture firm. I've actually gone on Google Earth and looked at the house she grew up in. Nice, tidy, not huge, but very nice. And her high school is one of the nicest looking high schools I've ever seen anywhere.
Yeah, she went to Yorktown High School. It's a upper class school.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
A lot of drugs there.
A lot of drugs, is that right?
Bronx. Yeah, there is. Not from the Bronx. Not even close.
Yeah, well, it's that fake urban street cred that, and it allows her to pretend that she is a victim of some kind. And you're aware that when she was in high school, she was known as Sandy Cortez, right? She was Sandy.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, I've heard you say that many times.
Not Alexandria, but Sandy, and not Ocasio-Cortez, but just Cortez, Sandy Cortez. Hey, Sandy Cortez in high school, and perky and bushy-tailed, and then she got a job at a restaurant, and she's waiting on tables. And, her brother entered her into a contest, and that's how she became a member of the House of Representatives.
Yes, I know that. That's the scam, too. They actually entered a few more extremely progressive candidates, that group that he's with.
Yeah, but, the Democrats and the media, they liked her because she's bushy-tailed, and not bright-eyed so much, but somewhat bushy-tailed.